I would like to hear your thoughts on my experience. I lost two hearts close to mine recently. My father, who died alone in his nursing home, isolated by COVID, and my beloved dog of 15 years was hit by a car. As I'm now on the road next to my dog holding her, I found myself repeating, I love you, it's okay, I love you, it's okay. We looked into each other's eyes. We were alone there, and I feel like she told me she was dying. In the moment, the light and colour left her eyes. I experienced a rush of something from her body outward and expanded away. I had this longing in that moment to follow, to chase, and then it stopped. It was all in a second. Wow, Michael, thank you. He's saying that. That's super beautiful. Yeah, I had this experience with a dog, but the dog didn't die in my arms. When I lived in Thailand, this dog got run over by a bike, but it didn't die, but it kind of was like dying. And so I went and caught it and picked it up and took it to the vet so they could give it painkillers and stop the pain. It died later. And I just had this sense as well of like this peace and this acceptance that happens in an animal, particularly in an animal, sometimes a human as well, but particularly in an animal, like there is this beautiful surrender that happens because the animal isn't afraid of dying. The dog has fear, so if it's being chased by another dog, or it has fear and it has pain, it has conditions, but internally it doesn't have a sense of I am separate and I am in relationship. So it doesn't have a sense that it's lived for 12 or 15 years and that it's going to die or it's going to leave you. So when it was looking at you, it didn't have a sense, I'm going to leave you. It was just dying. It was just slipping away. And as it slipped away, what will happen is all identification with the body. So it doesn't really have an identification with separation, but it has identification with the body, like I spoke about in the beginning of the talk. But it will just slip away into love. So every boundary that it feels, it will go beyond. So the boundary of the body, boundary of its nose, the boundary of heat will slip away and it will just go into wholeness, love, this expansiveness. So that which you felt is kind of what happens. It expands back out into everything. And so now your dog is in everything. Not your dog as in the conditions of your dog. That was like a unique particular experience which was contained to that. But the essence of your dog, that which looked at you, that which was conscious, that which was experiencing. And it's here now. There is consciousness, so there is your dog. But just not the name dog. It's essence. It's beautiful. But also say, I'm so sorry for your losses, Michael. Like we can also say that on the human level because your body was used to your dog and used to your father. And there is a love and a bonding there. And so there is a loss. There is sadness. There is grief. That is what these bodies do. I was watching this video about otters. I sometimes get stuck on YouTube with animal videos. And there's these otters and they're so cute. And did you know that otters, they do everything together, when they couple, a male and a female? I think that's my understanding of it. So the female otter wanted to feed and the male otter couldn't be bothered to move, so she was like nagging at the male otter to come with her. Like, it was very cute. But you can imagine when one of those otters die, that will be very traumatic for the other one. It will be looking and searching for its mate. This is the way we're bound, and I don't see the otter as separate, and suffering like a human does. These are dynamics which arise in these body minds. So death is like a great way of reminding us of that, what's beyond. This is where I feel like psychedelics have their healing power. So in the UK, there's been studies on mushrooms. There's documentaries about it on Netflix, and there's been that taking a high dose of psilocybin can alleviate depression, alleviate fear and anxiety. And I feel what happens in those experiences is they kind of have a death experience. They kind of lose their boundaries and go back into everything. And this is so rejuvenating. There is another teacher on the internet called Anna something. I forget her name. Anna Mai or Anna Mia. I'm not very good with names. And she was dying of cancer. She's written a book. If you know her name, please put it in the comments below so that other people can find her. And she wrote a book about having cancer, and she was dying from cancer, and she was in, I think she was in hospice, like, and the doctors gave her like 1 day to live, said she was going to die very soon. And she kind of went into the dying process. And what happened to her was she kind of died before she physically died. So she kind of like let go, I think. So she talks about going into this white light and this expansion and this love. And it totally healed her body and regenerated her body. I'm not saying that happens in all cases, like death happens, but it's what happened in her being. Like, it's very regenerating, these experiences. But this is what I feel like happens with magic mushrooms, is it's like a die. You die. I'm not recommending magic mushrooms, and I'm not recommending doing anything illegal. If you want to do any of that, these psychedelic experiences, there's some countries they're legal in, and I suggest doing it there. And if it's not legal, I don't recommend doing it. Yeah. Thank you for being so open and willing to share Michael's beautiful message. I really appreciate it.